The World Economic Forum in Davos has ordered global authorities to radically reduce the number of white people in the world by 2030. If you thought the Great Replacement was nothing more than a conspiracy theory, you might want to think again. According to a WEF report, white people are responsible for the vast majority of the world's problems, including climate change and colonialism. And in the interest of an equitable future for the globe, the number of white people must be reduced as a priority. The WEF has enlisted the United Nations to help with the plan, and the results are already playing out before our very eyes. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community and support the channel. The Netherlands has become one of the global elite's testing grounds for the most extreme policies. Just as the Netherlands was ground zero for the elite's war on farmers, Dutch cities are also operating as laboratories for the elite's plans to depopulate the world and radically alter demographics. Eva Vladinga-Brock reports from the Netherlands.
Amsterdam currently consists of 56% migrants. The Hague, 58% migrants. Rotterdam, almost 60% migrants. And of course, most of these immigrants come from non-Christian, non-Western, African and Middle Eastern countries. Conclusion: the Dutch population is already outnumbered in the majority of our cities. But let's look onwards. London, 54% migrants. Again, conclusion, native population outnumbered. Brussels, color me shocked, 70% migrants. Conclusion, native population majorly outnumbered. And other Europeans will, of course, follow suit soon if they haven't already. So I'm going to draw the forbidden conclusion here. The Great Replacement theory is no longer a theory. It's reality. And what's interesting about replacement is that the establishment will either deny its existence, or when they admit to it, they say that it's a good thing that the native European population is soon no longer a majority on its own continent. Dutch national disgrace and dubbed climate pope Frans Timmermans already stated in 2015 that diversity is humanity's destiny and that Europe will be diverse. And of course, by now, I think we all know what they mean with the word diversity. It means less white people, less of you. Imagine this in an Asian or an African country. Imagine their leaders rejoicing in the fact that their people will soon no longer be a majority in their own country. Absolutely unthinkable, unimaginable.
What is wrong with our leaders? They are fully bought and paid for by compromised reprobates who have hitched their wagon to the globalist agenda and take their orders directly from Davos. Catching the elite in mask-off moments is nothing short of terrifying. Take, for example, footage of a top CDC official saying that the elites must get rid of all the whites in the United States and replace them with immigrants to create a more compliant society. Dr. Carol Baker was describing what she described as the solution at a panel discussion in New York City.
The solution. Every study published in the last 5 years, when you look at vaccine refusers, I'm not talking about, well, hesitants, most of them we can talk into coming to terms, but refusers. We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States.
You won't be surprised to hear that Baker was appointed chair of the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization by Barack Obama's Health and Human Services Secretary in 2009. She was also honored with the 2019 Albert B. Sabin Gold Medal at a DC ceremony sponsored by Pfizer and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Is anyone surprised that a Bill Gates-connected CDC official is openly suggesting depopulating America of white people who don't cooperate with the elite's vaccine agenda? This is the same Bill Gates who told world leaders that it's time to talk about death panels that will sentence ordinary law-abiding people to death for the crime of being no use to the elite.
You know, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So you of course
But
we're
that's
making...
an interesting thing you just said, which is just the last 3 months in life for one person or something, because we haven't had a discussion of how to allocate that money. It means we lay off 3 teachers to do so. I mean, in other words, we
That's
haven't
right.
had this type
Society's
of allocation.
We're making
discussion.
that trade-off because of huge medical costs that are not examined to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever.
Well, wait,
and because of pension generosity, we will be laying off over 100,000 teachers, which, you know, I'm very much against that. And the whole AFT will agree with me on that.
This is the psychopathic world Bill Gates and his associates at the WEF are determined to usher in as part of their Great Reset and Great Replacement. But it gets even worse when you understand how far and wide their evil ideology has spread.